So here we are at Coalbrookdale, below the Lightmoor development, about 300 yards above where the stream goes into the River Severn. There's no filtering system or anything like that before what's coming through here goes into the River Severn. Now at Furnace Pool, I'm going to take you to show you three sites within the pool, the entrance and the dam at the bottom. We can see the variety of volume of pollution and some pretty strong indicators that there's a major problem at this site below Stoneyhill. I asked the council about 20 years ago what monitoring takes place of this stream. Answer came there, none. I asked the Environment Agency what regular monitoring they did of this watercourse. They confirmed there is no regular monitoring of this watercourse. I hope by the end of this little video you'll be able to see why I think they might actually be scared about people knowing the truth about the state of this watercourse. When our regulators seem to avoid the most difficult places, well, where'd you go? If the regulator isn't doing its job properly, who should be taking responsibility? Surely it's not up to us citizen scientists to do their work for them, is it? I told the MP for the Wrekin about the problem they got at the Lightmoor dump site, and I told Bourneville Village Trust before the development got going. I wonder what responsibility both of them bear for what we find here. As a child I used to visit this site, and I think it's more polluted now than it was 40 years ago. Well, I hope you can hear me against the backdrop of the Furnace Pool dam. As you can see, the orange staining, which is characteristic of leachate from the Monsanto dump sites, is very present here. What you can't tell is the smell. The smell here is pretty horrendous. It's similar to, although slightly distinct from, the smell which I pick up at Lwyd, Brofysgyn and Maindy, Monsanto toxic waste dump sites in Wales. There's obviously a slightly different mix, but some of the same family of chemicals. Why am I so confident? Because my nose has become hypersensitized to this family of chemicals due to the amount of study I've been doing here. If this was just rust from old mine workings, this smell would not be evident. This smell to me is a strong preliminary indicator of the presence of the PAH family of chemicals. Why are the Environment Agency not testing? Is it here too because they're scared of what they'll find? Well, I'm here at Furnace Pool at the top end of Coalbrookdale, looking at the inlet stream to the pool itself. As you can see here, well, it's pretty much biologically dead. If you come close, you can see that this orange staining isn't just rust or that, it's actually a kind of fungal growth. It's exactly the same growth as is in the outlet stream from Maindy Quarry, which is one of the most polluted sites in the United Kingdom. This site is downstream from Stoneyhill landfill site, where Monsanto dumped a large number of different toxic chemicals. I know they did this because I've seen the lorry tipping manifests. They specified well over 24 different kinds of chemicals, and the pile of papers was about 2 foot high, so it had lots of detail. Now, I had wondered whether this was just rust from the barrels that the toxic chemicals were in, but looking at it more closely, you can see it is actually a biological growth. No shrimps, no normal waterweed, none of the normal stuff that you'd get in a healthy stream. It's quite striking upstream. that the colour of the stream switches. Above the site it's grey, consistent with different mine working effluents and things like that. When it emerges below the site, it turns orange. I don't understand why the Environment Agency are so reluctant to do testing of the ecological health of this stream. Or, well, let's put it differently, maybe I do understand. Maybe it's because they're scared of the results. Well, here we are beside the main road through Colebrookdale. The children's play area is just the other side of the road there, without any safety fencing to the stream. As you can see, the state of the stream here is pretty much biologically dead for the usual range of things you'd be expecting. No healthy waterweed, no shrimps. God help any kingfisher that tries to dive into this one. What is this orange stuff? The colour of the water itself has that faint grey with an orange tinge, but the most striking thing is the fungusy kind of growth that's going on. Now, the most interesting part to me as a fisherman used to looking at a lot of different rivers is that there appears to be nothing growing successfully out of that orange. No insect at all in contact with it. I can't see a single fly above the stream. This is pretty bad. If it's not being caused by what I believe to be the contaminated land at Stoneyhill next to the Lightmoor new development, then I think it's really incumbent on the Environment Agency and the Council to explain why this stream is in such a horrendous ecological degraded state. Here we are at Stoneyhill landfill site, by the site of one of the pipes which looks like it's being used for dealing with either the elevated leachate or the gas that's been coming off the site. Now there's a small set of stones here, and on my left I can see a clear looking liquid, looks slightly oily, smells slightly odd, and on the right I just tried to make an area where we can take a sample from. Now this is going to be indicative testing, which is done to try to check the presence of particular polyaromatic hydrocarbons, or what's called BTEX, benzene, toluene and other things. Indicative testing is done by the Environment Agency and others to try to form a pattern of preliminary testing to check where detailed testing needs to be done. Downstream of here in Colebrookdale, as you may have seen from the previous video, there is very little life in the stream. Certainly at the top of Colebrookdale, there appears to be no invertebrate life and no fish life whatsoever. Now I'm just going to smell this. The smell test is a recognised thing. Yeah, that's not a strong smell, but there is a distinct smell that there's something a little strange in here. When I smelt this back in June, when it was covered in foam and froth, I couldn't have stood here. I literally couldn't have stood here. It made me want to retch. Anyway, we'll see what happens next. Well, Pat, I'm not sure how long it's safe for me to stand around here. I can feel my stomach reacting a little bit already to this. This is rather unexpected, isn't it? it's unclear what kind of treatment is going on in that tall cylinder, but whatever it is, there's still some noxious vapour coming off this outflow pipe here. And the fact that it's foaming, I believe may be an indicator that there is still something unpleasant. That bag there hardly looks high-tech, does it? That it's coming into. I don't quite know what the purpose of that is. I've got a jar here where we took the indicative sample from the vertical pipe. I'm very tempted to actually add some sample from here. I wonder if it's possible to get some. The way these bubbles are popping, if you look at it, that looks to me like some kind of unusual activity. I've never seen bubbles frothing like that before anywhere, to be honest. And look at the speed. It's sending out little water waves from every bubble that goes. There's something very odd here. Let's see what more we can see. Well, this is odd. Oh my goodness. Come around here. Come around here. The leachate trough is overflowing. It's actually overflowing. Oh my God. If any of that is getting outside the site, then I think we probably have a legal offence here. If any of this is getting into Coalbrookdale, then I think we have quite a major legal offence. I've done some strange things as a citizen scientist in my time, but what I'm about to do is one of the most distasteful things I've ever done. Right. I'm going to take a sample from here to add to our indicative sample. I mean, both water flows are inside the site, so if anything positive comes up from them, then presumably the Environment Agency will have to move out of their present state of denial into a situation of actually investigating. I suspect they may be investigating a legal offence, to be honest. Right, now then, I know my lungs are already affected. I really don't want my arms to be affected, but even so, in the cause of science, I'm now collecting some of the liquid from the overflowing leachate trough. Here we go. Right. Well, Pat, that is very clearly overflowing, isn't it? You can see the drips coming down here. It's running down the wall from about here to about there. You can see it running down that leaf there and across there. You can see how it's come onto those leaves. And it's also running off this. It's running onto there, down that twig and off there. Now, that is quite clearly overflowing. It's obviously gone into the soil there. I suspect the Environment Agency may need to decontaminate this area as a matter of urgency. I'd love to say more, but my lungs are beginning to feel very, very tight indeed. I think we'd better clear out. There's just one thing I would mention before I go. If you turn the camera round to the yard there, you can actually see there's remnants of where there's been a flow. That looks to me pretty serious.